What we wanted to do to celebrate the first bill that I signed as mayor was take the bill that you all worked so hard on and got a majority of this city council to agree. We're trying to get all the 5 members here. But it was the neighborhoods that did this. And we want to focus on neighborhoods. And what you were saying is that in this terrible tragedy of foreclosures, we don't want to make it worse when banks allow the properties, to fall into disrepair. And we're requiring them, to make sure that they keep the neighborhoods up. Foreclosure is bad enough. It hurts families, it hurts the neighborhoods. But let's not, add insult to injury with these houses that become blighted. So all we are saying is that we want the owners, the banks, to keep up the property because the neighborhood demands it. Now, I see this, by the way, for the groups who have worked on this as a first step, because this will help the neighborhoods that are where houses are being foreclosed. But the whole process of foreclosure is a tragedy that should not be happening. I mean, we gave the banks, when I was in Congress, literally hundreds of billions of dollars to help people stop foreclosure. And yet they haven't used the money for that purpose. They have not modified loans. They have not reduced principal. They have not been a help. You try to modify your loan, you get lost in a maze of phone calls and switching of people around. And we're going to establish a housing advocate in the mayor's office to help individuals with the banks, but also because you all passed also probably the strongest CRA, Community Reinvestment Act, protections in our whole state, right? The council has done some great things. And that does not take effect, I think, for a while. Correct me if I'm wrong. Looking at you guys.
You're doing good. You're doing. You're the
Not
mayor,
yes
right.
or not. But we want the banks to start doing that now, to start fulfilling what the CRA did and requires and what this council has required earlier. And we have some leverage on the banks that we're going to try to use, but we're going to soon meet with the banks. And this is a first step that shows that the neighborhoods want protection. We're going to go further and say we want more protection. We want the banks to actually help our neighborhoods and help our individuals. So I want to thank all the community groups that worked on this. Clara, if you come up and say hello. You are with ACE. When you want to explain what ACE is, and it's the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. Tell us great things about ACE and what you did here.
Okay. Hello.
This is Clara Lopez.
No, actually, my name is Clara Lorabacchio, and I am here to thank the members of the City Council and Mayor Filner for passing the property value protection ordinance. 6 months ago, we didn't think we could do anything about this house across the street, and sorry. And there was garbage and there was crime just happening in this house, and it was bad for our neighborhoods. And I work with ACE because I am a member of ACE, and we brought this together with the community to the attention of this problem that was happening here. And now we have this city ordinance that will make sure that banks will be held accountable for cleaning up and not polluting our neighborhoods. And by having the Mayor Filner signing the ordinance here, we're sending a message to the neighborhoods from the City Hall that our neighborhoods will not be left out anymore. Thank you.
All right. And we guarantee that they won't be. From the Center on Policy Initiatives, the leader of CPI, Claire Crawford.
Thank you.
So we are thrilled to be here today to witness Mayor Filner signing the Property Value Protection Ordinance. This ordinance will give our city additional tools to protect neighborhoods from the costs and hazards of foreclosure blight. This is a common sense measure that's actually already been enacted in many cities around the country, but it was a long process to turn this important proposal into law. Thanks to the leadership of Councilmember David Alvarez, the commitment of community members and organizations, and the support of the other council members present, like Sherry Leitner, who just appeared, Marty Emerald, and Todd Gloria, we're able to be here today to celebrate with our new mayor. Back in June of 2011, the Center on Policy Initiatives and ACE released a study that documented the high costs that communities pay as a result of the foreclosure crisis. Well, this ordinance cannot restore the hundreds of millions of dollars lost to community residents here in San Diego and to our city as a result of the actions of Wall Street and the banks. It actually can help community members in the city work together to restore our neighborhoods and halt the effects of blight. And I will say, I think Clara was a little bit modest in what their efforts did. I mean, if you look at that house, we have a picture that people can see later of what that house looked like just a few months ago. And if you see it now, it's ready for sale. So,
Here it is.
so this is
Here's how it looked.
some of the stuff that was left there by Bank of America, basically. They didn't exactly leave it there, but they didn't clean it up. So over the last year, hundreds of community residents came out to public hearings and events to support this measure. A poll commissioned by CPI demonstrated that 70% of San Diegans, an overwhelming majority, supported holding banks accountable when they leave foreclosed homes in blight. And at the final public hearing on this ordinance, then Mayor-elect Bob Filner came out to support the community by supporting this ordinance. So we are so excited to be here with him today as he signs this ordinance into law and allowing us to get moving on restoring services and restoring our neighborhoods. Thank you.
We have 4 of the 5 members of the council who voted for this and will make it law. The proposal was proposal was led on the city council by District 8 council member David Alvarez. Thank you for your leadership, David.
Thank you very much. I'm so very pleased to be here in one of our neighborhoods, one of our fine neighborhoods in the city of San Diego. That's what makes our city a great place. And this measure will continue to make sure that neighborhoods are what continues to make San Diego a wonderful place to live in. I started this journey a little bit ago. It took a while, over a year ago, but it was really Clara Lopez is the family that lives here, the lady who lives there. Clara's back there. She's the one who had to live with this across the street, and it's really unfair to try to think that this is normal or that this is okay. It really wasn't okay, and it wasn't okay for me when I first was introduced to this topic about over a year ago. It's happening in all the neighborhoods, really, and this is a step forward, and I'm just glad that we were able to get the council colleagues to agree with this important measure. And also, I'm glad that we now have a mayor that's going to make sure that it gets prioritized, because this initiative needs to have leadership from the mayor's office in order for it to be effective. And I know that with Bob Filner as our mayor, that will happen. Our neighborhoods will be protected because this ordinance will have someone who's going to be behind it, who's going to be enforcing it, and who's going to be making sure that people are held responsible. So I want to thank you all for coming out here. The great crew at City Hall, your council members who are here before you today, worked on several pieces of legislation, several ordinances that really were aimed at making banks responsible, holding them responsible, and at making sure that our neighborhoods were held up in high regard as they should be. So I want to thank them as well for their leadership on the City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David, for your leadership. A newly re-elected council member from the first district of San Diego, Sherry Leitner. Thank you again for your dedication to neighborhoods. That's what brought you into politics, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today as Bob signs the Property Value Protection Ordinance into law. This is an ordinance that provides another important tool in our toolbox as we work to protect and improve our neighborhoods. Too often, the abandoned properties create public safety and fire hazards, drive down property values, and demoralize neighborhoods. We as a city decided that could not stand. In the last year, we have passed several new ordinances. designed to tackle this problem while ensuring the banks take the appropriate responsibility for abandoned properties. Irresponsible lenders helped create the housing mess, and it makes sense that they take responsibility for cleaning it up. This ordinance enables the city to hold banks accountable for the maintenance of foreclosed and abandoned properties by creating a registry and levying fines on the bank if the property is not properly taken care of. It will help protect our neighborhoods, stabilize property values, and in turn help the housing market's recovery while improving our local economy. I want to thank everyone who worked so very, very hard in crafting this and pairing it with the responsible banking ordinance and the abandoned properties ordinance as well. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Sharon. Also, newly re-elected to the City Council and then re-elected as its council president, the great Todd Gloria.
Thank you, Mayor Filner, and good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be here in District 8. Thank you, Ms. Lopez, for letting us take over your front yard for this event. We appreciate that. And while I'm pleased to be in District 8, I want you to know that this is also an issue in District 3. And I see a number of District 3 faces who are here. Many of you know that I personally experienced this in my own housing complex, where a foreclosed property with unclear ownership was allowed to deteriorate to the point that it became an issue, a attractor of crime in our neighborhood. It was because of the lack of responsibility by the banks that particular problem happened in my own community. And if this happens on a city council member's block, what does that mean for other communities? And that's why this legislation was so necessary. I want to give all the credit, because it is all due to the great leadership of Councilmember David Alvarez. David, thank you for being such a hard worker on this issue. He deserves a round of applause. David was tenacious. When people said it couldn't be done, he worked harder and made it happen. He was backed up by our Council President Pro Tem Sherry Leitner. Do you like the sound of that? Because I do. Council President Pro Tem Sherry Leitner, Councilmember Emerald, and Councilmember Young, and myself. And as was mentioned, this is a part of a suite of legislation that we have authored that's trying to put people first. And whether it's David's Property Value Protection Ordinance, my Abandoned Properties Ordinance, Councilmember Young's Responsible Banking Ordinance, or Councilmember Emerald's resolution to end corporate personhood, you see a city that is focused on prioritizing individuals, families, the middle class, and our neighborhoods. I think that's exactly where the city should be. This council will continue to push on that in the years to come. And I want to thank every member of the public who is here. The council is only strong as the people who stand behind us. And with the great help of ACE, CPI, our neighborhoods, and individuals like the Lopez family, we're getting stuff done in this city. I look forward to leading the city in the year ahead to do even more. Thank you all very much.
We just coined a new expression that we're going to use, Todd. We have supposedly a strong mayor form of government. We've called it a strong council, strong mayor. But I think from now on, we're going to call it strong neighborhood, strong council, strong mayor form of government. So, because we're going to give more power to the neighborhoods. We are in District 9 for the first time. And also re-elected, resoundingly, for a second term, the wonderful troubleshooter of our city, Marty Emerald.
Thank you. Actually, I think that what's happening here, Ms. Lopez, is that we're all competing for you. As we should be. I like the sound of a neighborhood council and a city that's devoted to neighborhoods, because that's what this is all about. Whether it's the three-legged stool with the responsible banking ordinance, the abandoned property ordinance, or the PPVPVO. It is all about making sure that we protect consumers. I don't have a crystal ball. Some people say I don't even keep track of my calendar very well. But I think it's fair to say that our financial problems aren't over yet in this country. Many people still are struggling to stay in their homes, to make their mortgage payments each month. And foreclosures are still happening. Properties are still being abandoned. So anybody who wants to tell you that the problem is over, it's already solved, it's so yesterday in its history, is apparently waking up on the wrong day or the wrong page, because we are still in trouble in this country. Our economy is still struggling just to keep pace. and individual families are struggling to keep their homes. The message we're sending to the banking industry, to corporate America, is that here in the city of San Diego, consumers do come first. Consumers come first. And the same practices that created this terrible, terrible crisis must end. We all have to be accountable, and that goes for the banking industry to make sure that all the proper paperwork is filed, all of the information comes in before loans are made. And when loans are made and the consumers are struggling, banks need to stand up like good corporate citizens and help people stay in their homes. This is about changing the culture in San Diego and hopefully sending a broader message to the rest of the state and nation that consumers really do have to come first. So thank you for your support. Thank you, Mayor Filner. We really do appreciate your support in this and signing this into law. And again, sending a message that hopefully will resound with people all across the country.
And of course, with all our elections, the sun has come out over San Diego.
It's a new day.
It's a new day. Esta nueva protegerá nuestros barrios. Estoy dedicado a la protección de nuestras comunidades. We are dedicated to protecting our neighborhoods for everyone. And I get to sign my first bill. Is everybody ready? What we're going to do is I'm going to sign this, the official copy that goes down to the city clerk. And then we're going to, if you could move that away too. And then we're going to sign copies of the bill with pens that will go to all the people who played such an important role in the legislation. So thank you, ACE. Thank you, CPI. The first bill, give me the name of it again. The Property Value Protection Organization. My first bill to become law.